Call of Duty Black Ops 6 is a triumphant return for the series after a thoroughly disappointing 2023 Modern Warfare 3 release. It is a big, bombastic, worldwide adventure that pulls out every trick imaginable. You've got your classic, non-stop Michael Bay-style bombastic epic moments. A wide-open mission that lets you tackle objectives in your own way for over an hour. And even zombie-style horror that somehow makes in-universe sense. I think my only issue with this story is that it does get a little silly by the end. It's not just action and body count wise, like you're mowing down legions, but on the psychological side of things, it's not bad. It's just a little silly. Hey, it's available day one on Game Pass, on cloud, console, and PC. So let's break down why I think this title works so freaking well in the XboxEra review of Call of Duty Black Ops 6's campaign. For the majority of Black Ops 6's campaign, you will play as Case. Your character is seemingly steeped in mystery, though that kind of came out of nowhere to me. Things begin with a typical over-the-top mission in Iraq to capture a defector. Things go sideways as they tend to do in Call of Duty, and a global trek is on. This is a Black Ops title, and developer Treyarch is all in on their what if conspiracies were always real type of story. Enemies and friends change sides, mostly with solid logic and occasionally with a few I must have missed something scenarios. The most mysterious ends up being your own character, whom by the end of the game still has some big unanswered questions. The rumor for next year, 2025's Call of Duty, is a near-future set Black Ops 6 expand-alone type of release. I'm really curious if Case and some of the game's team are still around if that turns out to be the case, because it'll be about 3 decades in the future from this one. Control-wise, if you played the multiplayer beta, you know how good this movement feels. That Omni-movement system is here, and aiming on an Xbox controller feels like a dream. There's some heavy aim assist by default, which you can try and turn down to have more directional control like I did. Everything's super snappy, buttons are laid out in familiar, logical ways, and it is just good Call of Duty. I mean, it's one of the biggest IPs on the planet, and that's kind of the reason why. It's big, crazy, and it feels really nice. Also, Black Ops 6 is a really good-looking game, which you'd kind of hope for with the budget. It's playing on an Xbox Series X with a 120Hz mode-enabled TV for smoother camera aiming. I believe the game still just runs at 60, though. The only issue was with reconstruction artifacts. There's a heavy shimmering on hair and other fine detail textures that can look a little off. You can choose also to have the game, which was roughly 60 gigabytes for the campaign and launcher, download high-res textures on demand. I've got really good 1 gigabit down internet, and it worked pretty well, though there were a few times where it popped in from a super low-res asset to the high-res texture, which it only happened a few times during my roughly 9 hours that it took me to beat the campaign. It's a big old globe-trotting adventure, moving from America to the Middle East and beyond. You're a small, shadowy group, and the missions mostly have you working either alone or with a small number of teammates. They do smartly break this up by having a really long mission in which you are fighting alongside a big group of soldiers to break up the pace. As stated in the intro, you get your regular linear levels, that big old open world one, some that are mostly stealth, and the, of course, classic, crazy, bombastic Call of Duty stuff. My favorite was that open hub-style mission where you're in the Iraq desert striking at various targets to help out a large squad. It kind of felt like single-player PvE Warzone, but in a really good way, unlike Modern Warfare 3's take on it last year. You'll earn various killstreak-style power-ups to use on your equipment wheel, which is accessed by holding up on the D-pad. The game uses most of Call of Duty's recent innovations like the equipable armor, turrets from zombies, and some fun surprises. While the desert level feels like a typical army invades the Middle East and shoots anyone in sight war mission, there are some beautiful civilian locations that really shake things up. I think 2 of my favorite levels outside of the big one are of the 11 on offer, which don't count your in-between home missions, where a Bill Clinton fundraiser, and a casino. The fundraiser has you need to tackle a very specific problem, and to do so, you have 3 options on offer. This also happens again with a later mission, and alongside your home upgrade system, it all gives you some really good replayability. That home base is called the Rook, in which you can replay missions, start up new ones, and solve a mystery. Alongside all of that, you can have conversations in the Rook and during missions where you have kind of full-on Bethesda Game Studio Skyrim-ish style conversations with very light dialogue options. Most of the time, it's just exhausting the choices to hear everything, but there are a few times where you need to remember very specific info during a level to answer certain questions correctly. It's not hard, but it's neat. Inside the Rook, you'll have 3 separate systems to spend cash on that you'll find on missions to upgrade your character. I had one bug really bad with Black Ops 6, but it was amazing. After finding the combination to a safe in a later game mission that should have only given me $1,000, it gave me $10 billion. This made it very easy to buy every upgrade and turn my character into a god of death. It's Call of Duty, the gameplay's ace, the graphics are ace, and the story's really close to being great. These titles always have a big bad, and I do think Black Ops 6 is a little weak. I did not dislike the character, it just kind of felt a little out of nowhere and not properly built up, and that might be totally on me, missing key info during levels, as Treyarch's pretty infamous for hiding tons of puzzles and items in their titles. I tried my best searching high and low in the Rook, and whenever I could on missions, and I still felt a bit flummoxed when the reveal occurred. And it definitely feels like the story, while the major threads are settled for the most part, is building up to more. You get a lot of answers, just not everything. I will be curious, as I said earlier, to see if next year's title picks any of the few dangling plot threads back up. The writing and voice acting are super high quality, like you'd expect from a title with this crazy of a budget. The OST is thumping and sets a frenetic pace for the combat. There's also some classic 90s songs like 9 Inch Nails kicking off when you use the helicopter machine gunner call-in. It was delightful for my 40-year-old ass as well. Like I said earlier, it looks really good graphically on Series X outside of that shimmer. It isn't super noticeable in combat, but the game does have a surprisingly diverse set of mission types, and you can see it for sure during the slower parts. Once again, also, the power of the cutscene rears its ugly head and sees your hard-earned win at the end of some long fights turn into a stripped-away loss. It's might be a me thing, but I have grown tired of it in so many games. You bust your butt and then lose because of the script, no matter what, is what it is. Wrapping things up, Call of Duty Black Ops 6's campaign is excellent. While the story isn't perfect, it was just logical enough to keep me happy. I mean, it's Black Ops, it doesn't have to be super logical. It's available at launch for Xbox Game Pass console, PC, and Ultimate members on cloud, console, and PC. I'd probably only recommend a purchase if you are into multiplayer and zombies, because then you are just getting a lot out of your money. It is $70, it's a big ask, but it's a really, really good campaign. So if you're looking to shoot the ever-loving shit out of a lot of people, there's nothing quite like a good Call of Duty campaign. And it really helps that this one is great.